Oh, thank you, Guramagat, and thank you very much, Cathaoirleach, and to the Minister, and to, I suppose, this bill that's been brought before is the amendment, Domestic Violence Amendment Bill, and just to express support, and thanks to Senator Martin here as well, through bringing it through private members' business. It is really shocking in all societies that we're seeing this abuse and attacks against women. But I suppose what I would like to speak to is just how we engage at very early stages, that we are supporting women in coming forward when in a domestic situation, because there's always indications and there's always probably symptoms of this, and yet women put up with this type of aggression in the home. And usually, like the other types of legislation that we're seeing coming through, where you're looking at non-fatal strangulation, where we're looking at other types of elements where we're ensuring that women have support, you know, in preventing the outcome that we would see here in terms of a domestic homicide, that, you know, a domestic homicide review would need to happen. I suppose to speak to when it comes, I suppose, in regional areas around domestic violence and around in homes, it can be very hard in small towns to come forward for very obvious reasons. It's in cities, I'm not, you know, a big difference, but in cities there's a little bit more anonymity, and it can be easier sometimes for women to come forward. In small towns, it can be very difficult. It can be very difficult to find someone to trust. You can be in very deep family networks between yourself, maybe your partner's family, and so on. I just think it's really important that we're seeing supports from TUSLA, Minister, and I don't know if you can speak to this as well, but it has been raised before around refuge places. And I know that this is something that's been led on from the Minister, from the Department of Justice. But again, if I can only reiterate, we don't have refuge places in the likes of our smaller towns, you know, the likes of 6,000, 10,000. You know, we're fighting for them already in our cities, but we need to have those places, because when women are in a violent situation, that they can remove themselves from the home, even for a few days, so that they're away from a dangerous situation and in a safe space, and that could be in a local area to where they're based. I think this is absolutely crucial, and I know that this bill is specifically around domestic homicide, but I do really want to speak to the measures that we need to put in place to support families in dangerous situations before it gets to this point, because there are indicators and there are indications, there are symptoms, and we need to be able to support women in that. So I suppose just to ask that there is a sort of an approach, and Minister, if you can speak to the fact that I know TUSLA is looking at this, but again, that's under a different department, and what we're doing under the Department of Justice as well. I'd very appreciate your feedback on that. And Guramagat Cathaoirleach.